I'm trying a little experiment here, with live video. Now, I typically, you'll hear my son here in the background, but I typically, I do live streams, when we're doing like out at a preach or at an event or something like that, or we do a live teaching, which I do from my desk in front of me here, my computer, and those video formats are usually horizontal and whatnot, and we have green screen in the background and all that. But I did want to try something a little different here, real quick. What I wanted to do is, because again, I realize there's a lot of people that hop on our channel, that hop on to our videos. We do have some short videos we make. And some people may not have any experience with a street preacher whatsoever. They may not know what we do, or they may have assumptions, based upon what they've seen from other preachers out there, maybe. There's a lot of people that may not know who I am as a minister. You may read a Fox News article about me, or a Christian Post article, or a CBN article or something. And, while they tell a story about an event that we were involved in, or they'll tell you something about, something that we are, experiencing, or something that's happened to us. They'll tell you something from a perspective on a news type level that doesn't really tell you who we are, what type of ministry we run, and why we do what we do. And, there's a lot of people, that, especially on social media, that, we can pretty much speculate about anything we want. We can glean into what somebody says and try to infer a meaning. We can, take a video apart of somebody, and, if we don't like what they say or like what they do, we can try to make it into something that it's not. So what I wanted to do real quick was as an experiment tonight for anybody new that may not know who we are, that might be interested in some of the things that we say or do. I wanted to just real quick, just maybe do something, not real quick, but however long it takes, to, hop on and ask me anything, and if you come on here and you want to know something, why are we street preachers? Are street preachers biblical? What do I believe? Why do I believe it? So I want to do a question and answers type thing. And I want people to be able to, feel free to ask me things to get a better sense and an idea of who we are and what we do. Because at the end of the day, the way America is, the way our world is going right now, things are a mess. And there's a lot of people out there that may not know what Christianity really is. What a church is. How do we know who's right and who's wrong type stuff. So feel free to ask any question. When I see them, I'll stop and I'll answer the question. But I wanted to use this time here real quick to kind of explain who we are and what we do. So, my name is Rich Penkoski, and I am an open-air preacher. I wasn't always an open-air preacher. I began a ministry. Give me that. Give me that. Sorry, my son. I began a ministry called Warriors for Christ about 2012. So about 12 years ago, I started a ministry called Warriors for Christ. And the ministry really started on Facebook. I started as a Facebook page. And in that ministry, what it was my wife and I, and initially we were really starting up as I Support Traditional Marriage, because we were sick and tired of seeing all the LGBT nonsense. And and this is prior to, you can ask any question you want. This is prior to, 2015, obviously, when gay marriage became a thing. And at first it was just kind of a fun thing, not even a fun thing, just because. And then, we started kind of answering questions. We started debating people, but we found that we had more atheists coming on than anything else. So we started debating atheists. We started debating Satanists. And then, if you'll notice back, maybe some of you remember, maybe some of you won't, but there used to be pages called like God Killer. There was a Facebook page, which was in the news at the time, called, the Virgin Mary should have aborted Jesus. Things like that. I mean, really just vile, disgusting pages that really denigrated people of faith, that really demonized Christians, and all these things here. So we were dealing with all of that, And no, I'm not going to answer that question, you disgusting pervert. Again, podcast recap. Why do you got to be a pervert? He asked a question, do you ever take a dump so big you ever feel gay afterwards? Like, you see, that's what I mean. That's the way our society's going, right? Those are the kind of people that want to, that want to tell you that they're the moral, they hold the moral high ground, right? That they're the moral ones, that they're the ones who are decent people, and then they come on and ask stupid questions like that. So I mean, come on. But anyway, like I said, so we started doing that, and then we started actually taking down all those Facebook pages. And it was a lot of fun back then. Facebook wasn't censoring like they do now. We were able to grow to 200 and some odd thousand followers on Facebook. Because again, Facebook wasn't censoring us back then. They weren't censoring anybody back then. You did actually have the freedom to say what you wanted, regardless of who got their feelings hurt or not. You were allowed to speak the truth. You were allowed to speak your opinion. You were allowed to say things regardless of somebody got offended or not. Because just because somebody gets offended what you say, it doesn't mean what they feel is right or wrong. Because again, as Christians, as a Christian, I truly believe, and the Bible does make a case for this, that our feelings are not a good barometer of what the truth is. Our feelings are not an indication of what truth is and what truth is not. What is my eschatology? I personally hold to a pre-tribulation rapture position. I do not make it salvation pending. I do believe that, anybody who holds to whether no rapture, pre-trib, rapture, mid-trib, I don't think anyone's unsaved for any one of those positions. But I do believe, I do personally hold to pre-trib. However, I'm not going to sit there and pretend like, I've got that all figured out and I can, I can confidently say that I'm, you're wrong and I'm right. So what I truly hold is, the position I truly hold is that if you live your life in such a way that there is a pre-trib rapture, you're okay. But if you're prepared in case it's not, if you're okay there too. So if you live your life as if there is a pre-trib rapture, but you prepare in case there's not, you can't be wrong regardless, and you will make it regardless of whether it's pre, mid, or post. That's how I feel about that. So, I don't talk a lot about rapture. I don't talk a lot about end time events, simply because, a lot of people get caught up in that. A lot of people want to, that when people get saved, that's the first thing they want to do is talk about the book of Revelation, prophecy and things like that. And in reality, it's not even a good place to start when you're a Christian, because, Revelation is, you're looking at a vision that John is having while he's on Patmos, and he's looking at things, trying to describe what he's seeing using the technology of his time, right? So when he says things about like dragons and things like that, we know that there's actually no dragons. So what he's seeing, what if he's seeing a helicopter that's just like spitting bullets, right? So he's trying to describe what he's seeing through the technology and the knowledge of his time. And we have to remember that. And everybody wants to know what's going to happen. And so many people get caught up in future events that they miss what's happening right here, right now. And I think it's a huge error and a huge mistake, because we have a lot of problems and a lot of people that need God right now. You're full of nonsense. Okay. But you see, that's the other thing too. You have people that say you're full of nonsense, that don't know me, didn't ask any questions, know nothing. They just jump in. Why? Because their feelings are hurt, right? And again, this is their society. Their feelings are hurt because they don't like or agree. So they say, you're full of nonsense. Well, I think you're full of nonsense. I don't know you, you don't know me, but to come on here, and again, this is what we're saying. Our society is nothing but divisiveness. Everybody hates everybody. Everybody hates the Christian. Everybody hates somebody who holds to a traditional, conservative value. And of course, you got a bunch of fecal feasting perverts who want to tell you that you're full of nonsense while they're stuffing their face with fecal matter. I mean, come on, really? But anyway, so I'm glad I answered your question, the beginning of sorrows. We're all pan-millennial. It's all going to pan out in the end anyway. Right, I agree. So, and I don't think it's fair to condemn somebody to hell because of their eschatology. I don't believe it's salvation pending, unless you're the kind of guy that says, well, I'm going to rapture anyway, so I ain't got to do nothing. But that's not really rapture. That's more your mind and your heart condition. That's the issue. You know what I mean? Am I gay? No. And I think live chats like this will indicate, for me, like I said, it's an experiment. You already saw two people come on here, talking about gay nonsense. You're whiny like a woman. Okay. But that's the way it is in our society. You're not allowed to have an opinion. You're allowed to have an opinion as long as you agree with the person who's you're talking to. Um, you're not allowed to say or do anything contrary to what the public narrative is, or else. So anyway, back to what I was saying beforehand prior to busted. Okay, you're retarded. So we started that ministry back then, and we started morphing into more of a, I guess at the time you could say, an online ministry, if you will. And we started getting a large following. We tried to do things like, we would do live video, and then we would do, because we had people all over the world, right? We had a lot of people in Australia, Japan, things like that. And what we did was we would do like a live video chat with people who follow the ministry to get to know each other, things like that, and we really grew. And it wasn't until about 2007, I don't remember if it was 2017 or 2018, was with the first time, it was the first time that we were in the news. It was Christian Post did a story. I'm trying to remember the timeline, because of the threats and whatnot. Yeah. You are gay for gay T Olson. Okay. Well, we know who that profile is, so you guys can get rid of that guy. It's amazing. But anyway, so Christian posted a story because what we were one of the first that and again, by the way, you see period pictures here. They're the ones who think that they hold the moral high ground. Right? They're the ones who think that they're the better, that Christians are the bad guys, they're the good guys, and just look what they say. So you can let them run their mouth, and they'll expose themselves for who they are anyway. But anyway, so, we were one of the first ones that would actually, when LGBT or atheists, whoever it was at the time, would send us like death threats, we would screenshot it and then share it back, and show what they were like. So, and we did this a lot, by the way. And this is really when Facebook started banning us. I'm like, wait a second, you would ban me for sharing their messages for promoting hate speech, but not them for saying it. And then, Christian posted their article about it. People sent feces to my house. They, this, that, and the other. And we took off Main Street. Then I started doing radio interviews, and we started doing all these. Do I like chicken pot pie? Depends who makes it. And then we started doing that stuff, and we started going out there for standing against, agendas and just not backing down. But it was, it was so crazy that all of a sudden after that, what's his name? The Friendly Atheist did an article and unleashed a sea of trolls on us because we made a comment that says, hey, if you promote that rainbow stuff here, we don't want you on our page and all that. It was so crazy that George Takei jumped in. Every, famous LGBT celebrity knew who we were. They were commenting, they were sharing, encouraging others to do whatever. And we had so many go kill yourselves and all these things here that we made like 3 videos out of it. Like 5-6 minutes each. That's how many there were. It was crazy. So we really started exposing these people for who they really were. We started exposing them for the evil monsters that they were and showing people who they were. These people are not moral majority. These people are not loving. They're not tolerant. They're anything but. And they're like this because, you refuse to validate their lifestyle choices. You refuse to, and look, if what you're doing is so right, it shouldn't matter to you what I think, but it does, because deep down inside, they know it's wrong. But anyway, so that's what happened. And then we just took off from there. And then all of a sudden, I think it was 2018, the Drag Queen Story Hour stuff, started to, can God transcend his own nature? No, I don't believe God can. I don't believe God can. God is who he is. God cannot lie. His nature is not to lie. So it says it's impossible for God to lie. So therefore, God cannot transcend his own nature because he can't lie. He can't become a liar. He also cannot become evil. So, but, the drag queen stores are happening. And I remember it was a brother in Christ who lived in Lafayette, Louisiana, who told me about it. I'm like, wait, what? What is that? What's going on? And he's like, oh, it's a bunch of drag queens dressing. I'm like, reading stories of kids. I'm like, what? Get out of here. And he sent me the news article from Lafayette, and I'm like, that they were doing this. And I was like, oh my gosh. I said, I can't sit here. I've got to do something. Now, I didn't know street preachers existed back then. I didn't know what I was doing. I just felt like I have to do something. I can't sit here. Somebody's got to do something. So I said, I got to go down there. And I did. And we actually got it canceled. Right? We got that drag queen story canceled. We tried suing to stop it at first. The news media was all over it. When I went out there, they had news cameras and stuff like that. And I was like, wow, we shut it down. And then I got a phone call from a church out in Mobile, Alabama, who asked me if I could come out and help them, which just happened in Lafayette, because it was all over the news. And I said, sure. I went out there, and we did there, and we preached that event. And then afterwards, the library director assured me and told me they would never have another drag queen show story hour at that library again. And guess what? They haven't. So now we started getting this reputation for we're going out and standing against this stuff, and we're shutting it down. We're getting it canceled. It's not happening anymore. And we expose what's actually happening there. Well, this is now we started getting censored like crazy on Facebook, right? Every time we would say and do something, the Rainbow Skill Squad there would come and try to flag everything because they didn't want us to expose their agenda anymore, right? That's what people do. So, we started putting like events up to have people come out there and whatnot. And, we went to Evansville, Indiana. We went to, out in Michigan there. I mean, we're traveling all over the place standing against this stuff. And every time we went out somewhere, they no longer had it. Like they shut it down completely. So, we started developing this reputation, and all the sodomites knew who we were because of standing against it. And when we could come out there, we always live stream every preach we did so that nobody can claim that we were editing things and trying to, make it worse than it was, And we were warning way back when that you're saying that you're reading stories to kids about being gay. This isn't going to stop here. You're going to go much worse. And that's exactly what they did. Not only are they now twerking and dancing and all that stuff, they're claiming they don't do it when there's, a plethora of video evidence out there. So we were at the forefront of this, exposing this, and it drove nuts to the point where Facebook, they took our Facebook page, Words for Christ, away. We had 226,000 followers at the time when they took it down. So we started, I said, okay, whatever. So we started another one, and we got to 80. We had 80,000. They took that one. We started another one. We got to 40,000. They took that one. We started another one, got to 20,000, and they took that one. So we actually finally got, the Facebook apology director on the phone. It was Steve Jordahl from AFA and myself, and he called him up in a three-way conversation and asked him, hey, what is going on here? And, Neil Potts, who was the Facebook director at the time, was trying to, dance around things and, oh, well, we didn't know when people were doxing us. And, as long as they had LGBT in their profile, they never got banned for nothing. Facebook let them get away with everything while they started banning us and other Christians and other conservatives who would speak out against this stuff. And we didn't say anything bad, just because they say, oh, it's so hateful. Well, we were just speaking the truth, what the Bible says and what the truth of the matter is. We're using your own words against you. So that's what happened there. And then, we were working against Facebook. They had that pride emoji. They don't have that anymore. And that's because of our ministry. We shut that down. They didn't do it anymore because of all the hate and all the death threats that we received from the LGBT groups. We actually put 2 pedophiles in jail back then. It was great, the stuff we were doing, and we're still doing that. But we have obviously grown and learned as we've went along on things. And as we've grown and learned, we've had to modify some things, and we've gotten very good at doing what we do. And of course, whenever we go out there, the sodomites, they all know who I am. Just like a lot of people know who Dave Grisham is because of him shutting down the swingers clubs and his going out and as the Grinch, standing against Santa Claus, going to the mall, I guess a few years ago, and telling people Santa Claus isn't real, and people lost their minds over it. Like they were wanting to kill him for that. Imagine that. Grown adults wanting to kill a grown man for something that they know is a lie. That's insane. But that's society today. We're driven by our feelings. We're driven by our emotions today. And if you say anything I don't like, well, you're nonsensical. You're this, you're the other, before you even know what somebody holds, or you're just a bigot, you're a racist, you're a homophobe, you're this phobe, you're that phobe, you're that phobe, you're whatever. They just throw the word phobe on anything, and that's what they use to describe you. because it's all propaganda, right? Everything is about, I'm going to say this. This is my perception of you because this is how I feel. I don't like you. I don't like what you say. You obviously don't agree with my life, so you're this and that and the other. And then they cry and everything else. And I'll never forget, we preached this one Pride event, and a woman, I was wearing my body camera, and she goes, "Hey, can you not film my son in the park here?" I said, "Ma'am, I'm not trying to film your son, but we are in a public park, and if he walks in front of my camera, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not purposely I'm not pointing at him." She goes, "Well, why do you have to wear cameras anyway?" And we're like, "Well, we wear these cameras. We had a group of us there, and I don't remember if it was me or somebody else that said it. They're like, well, we wear these cameras to protect us, from." And I said, we wear these cameras, and I said at the end of that, we wear these cameras to protect us from you people. And this one went crazy. She's like, you people, and I'm like, what? I can't call you people now? I was like, well, I didn't even use gender specific pronouns. You're getting triggered. And she's crying, and her friends are hugging her. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. They were crying because I called her a people. I called her people, like a person. And they were getting upset about that. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. It's insane. But again, we recorded and live streamed everything we did. We posted about it. We shared it. We didn't hide anything that we were doing, right? But of course, LGBT groups, groomers and whatnot, they hated what we were doing because they couldn't lie. They would say things like, "Oh, we're not trying to get your kids," while they're out there trying to get your kids, right? They were out there literally telling your little boys, little girls, it's okay. They were dressing them up like little boys, like hookers. I kid you not, we had pictures of all this, especially in Spartanburg, South Carolina. We were there. They dressed the little boy up in Daisy Duke shorts and it was absolutely vile. And I couldn't believe what we were seeing at the time. Because, this is what's happening. And people are just turning a blind eye to it. These people have infected every part of our culture. And then I started going, well, where are the churches in this? Why aren't the churches doing anything? This is happening in their backyards. So we really started getting frustrated at the time. I'm like, I don't understand how God-fearing people who claim they love Jesus, everybody calls himself a soldier of Christ. Everybody calls himself a warrior for Christ. Everybody says they're in the army of the Lord, but nobody actually wants to engage in battle. I find that a lot of people that when it comes to battle, they call themselves warriors and soldiers, but they're like simps. They're like pansies. How could you call yourself a soldier when you're so afraid to fight? Tacking a name onto your ministry page or your YouTube channel doesn't mean you are that thing. Okay? Everybody wants to give themselves a label to make them appear as something they're not. We're soldiers for Christ because it sounds good, right? We're standing for Christ. And then, as we're doing this, I met other street preachers over the course of doing this. And, I've met a lot of good ones and I met a lot of bad ones. I met Ruben Israel, who turned out to be one of the best. I would say he was the best street preacher of all time. Man, street preached for over 40 years, fought huge battles, won major free speech cases. There's a lot of the reason we have the sidewalk to preach on without getting harassed too much and all is because of the work he did. And I started helping Ruben with a show and, got yoked up with some of these guys here. And throughout the entire tenure with Ruben before he passed away, I had always heard from people that, Ruben is a great guy, a great brother. Ruben's never a problem, but the guys around him, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And it turned out to be true, but that's another video from the time. So we're still standing against this stuff, right? We're standing against the drag queen still now, and the drag queen stuff is getting worse and worse. And as the drag queen stuff's getting worse, we find that the churches are becoming even more lukewarm in their apathy towards these things. Abortion clinics are popping up and backyard of churches. Yes, Ruben passed away in June of 2023. He died of kidney failure. And, this is where God has put us. Because, again, God has equipped us to shut this stuff down. God has equipped us with the know-how, the knowledge, and the tools to get this stuff shut down. And, and I think it's an amazing testimony. I was telling my daughter the other day, that, the fact that we're able to do what we do with so much success only proves that it's got to be God. because we're not millionaires. We're not Joel Osteen types. We're not famous. Yeah, I may be infamous among certain groups, but I'm certainly not famous. Who is Rich Penkoski? Internet troll who slanders brethren and then blocks those who disagree with him. Bulgarian disciple of Yeshua is a lying devil. So I'll answer you. And I believe this is Jason Murphy, who tried contacting my brother today because he said I lied about being in the Navy. And by the way, see, guys do this. Who blocks people who disagree with him? No, that's not true. See, this is what these trolls always do. So in other words, is when you correct somebody and they go start attacking you and they start lying about you and start slandering you, and then you block them for it, they say, well, you just blocked me, you disagree with me. No, I blocked you because you're a scumbag. I blocked you because you're look at these guys are so obsessed. This is Christianity, right? These guys are so obsessed that even alive, I don't ask them to come here. I don't ask them to comment, but they're so obsessed because when you correct them, right? When you correct them, these guys are like the Christians pagan. And when you ask them to show you and point you to one ancient source that confirms it and then show them historically they're wrong, how early Christians did celebrate the birth of Christ, they go like this. And says slanders brethren. Brethren are not people who help drag queens. Brethren are not people who condemn people to hell because they have a Christian in their house. Brethren don't contact people's family members to try to dig up dirt on somebody because you think it's lie. And then when you get told you know you're wrong, you don't even repent for it. And anybody who uses Yeshua in their name, you could tell, by the way, is not saved. Anybody who says they're Torah observant is not saved. These are people who think that they have to be under the law to be saved. Therefore, they are not saved. So a Bulgarian disciple who has zero following, by the way, is all triggered. And this Christians are just as snowflakey as the left, as liberals, let's be honest, because when you tell them they're wrong and you show them, they get like that guy there. And they'll say things like, well, you just blocked me because you disagree. That's not true. I don't care if you celebrate Christmas or not. I really don't care. I have lots of people that don't celebrate it who I love dearly as brothers and sisters. I could care less. But when you condemn people to hell for having a Christmas tree, come on. When you're yoking up with actual men who are sodomites and help sodomites condemn and make the word of God hate speech, you're not a Christian. So, unfortunately, the internet has become the wild, wild west. And Christians are able to do things and say things in whatever way they want without any accountability, because internet is not church. YouTube is not church. Facebook is not church. Okay? These platforms are tools that we can use, but they will not and cannot replace church. They will never be a replacement for church, because you know what? We as human beings, we as Christians, we need fellowship. We need to be around our brothers and sisters, and the internet cannot replace that. It's a tool we can learn from. We can listen to videos. We can watch videos. We can listen to teachers we like and whatnot, but it is not and cannot be a replacement for the church. Because the thing is there are too many wild, wild west people that call themselves watchmen that are out there that literally act without any control, without any accountability. And that's the way it's become, right? The internet and everybody does. It's not just everybody does that, right? We believe what we see. I mean, what's that one meme they made? The Abraham Lincoln meme where they said Abraham Lincoln something about if it's online it must be true, and they put like attributed quotes like Abraham Lincoln is like a joke, because everybody believes what they read online, right? That's why you got retarded kids eating Tide Pods because TikTok told them to, right? Oh, it's online, so it must be true. And ultimately, as adults, I'm 47 years old, right? I don't believe everything I see online. And most people my age don't either. But younger kids, they don't know because they grew up with this. They don't understand, that people lie. They don't understand that people, you say one thing and you say this is what they hear. So they run with what they hear. It's why you even have gay marriage and all these things here. It's why drag queens are allowed to be in our schools, because they're saying we're not doing this when they are. And what they do is they censor and anybody that exposes this, and they only let one side of the information go. But then you have the Christians who call themselves the watchmen, right? And there's no shortage of these whack jobs, and they think it's their duty to watch everybody who calls himself a Christian online, right? Everybody who says they got to watch them and then they'll critique them based upon the videos. They don't know them, they don't act, they don't talk to them, and the minute they try to talk and they become combative and confrontational, if it's in the Bible, it must be true. That's true. If it's in the Bible, it must be true. It is true if it's in the Bible. It's not must be. It is. Crybabies come to the richest channels. They do actually. They come to my channel to cry. Because that's what grown adults do, right? There's no control of our feelings or emotions. So, but there's these watchmen, and they think it's their job to critique people they don't know or never met based upon videos or posts they make, and they infer meaning. They never ask, "Hey, what do you mean?" And people do ask sometimes when I say something, "What did you mean by this?" And sometimes they go, "Oh, I misspoke," or I have to correct myself or something like that. But the watchmen out there, and again, there is a lot of them out there. There is a lot of people who call themselves watchmen. They truly believe that that's their job to watch everybody. I don't believe that. I don't really care about watching other Christians and that. If somebody comes to me and there's something really bad out there, then yeah, we could talk about it. But other than that, I don't usually go to people's channels. I don't go to ministries and churches channels and see the stuff they're doing. And no, we come here to laugh. And I go to your drag shows to make you cry. So you can come here to laugh. I'll go where you are to make you cry. But again, these are the people that think that they're the moral majority in this country. The people that believe that people that sex slaves include ingesting fecal matter are good role models for your kids. That men dressing in women's underwear are good role models for your kids. I'm not a drag shows. You probably support them though. Because it's only people that support the LGBT and the oneness that have a problem. Unitarian street preacher movement is growing. That is true. It's all about being one and unifying regardless. And I find the message of unity strange because while I do agree and that as Christians we should be unified in our faith in Christ and we should not be fighting over secondary issues, I do find it funny that there's this movement of unity at all costs. Doesn't matter what you believe, doesn't matter your theology, doesn't matter, whatever. If you say Jesus, you're all right. But what I find strange about that is at the end, there's going to be a figure that comes and preaches a message of unity as well. And that's called the Antichrist. He's going to appear in the scene and he will be preaching a message of unity. And it's going to be the people like us that are going to be demonized. Your thoughts on the Ark of the Covenant. Can you be more specific? What do you mean my thoughts on the Ark of the Covenant as far as what goes? Have you seen all the predators chasing channels? None of the chomos are trans. They're all white married men. Yeah, except that's a lie. They're not white married men with kids. And I'll tell you this, Dancer, and let's try to use, I know it's hard for you reprobate leftists to use logic, but I'm going to ask you, just try for a second. If a man goes after a boy, that man is gay. And I know you don't want to say that because when you say that that men go after boys are not gay, you're saying that the boy is not a boy. And we know how that works, right? You want to, I'm showing you proof. You want to say that it's a pedophile and that, but you just said white men who go after girls are heterosexuals, but men who go after boys are not gay. You want to change the terminology so that the numbers get skewed by saying it's mostly straight men, but it's not, because men who go after males are gay. Okay. Even the Catholic Church with all those priests that were hurting those little boys, they were gay men. 80% of those priests were gay men. Men like males. Straight men like girls. The men who harm little girls are heterosexual predators. Men who hurt boys are gay predators. And guess what happens more? Let's guess what happens more. The predator channels are white men. No, actually, I'm involved in a lot of catching these predators. We've caught quite a few of them, and they're all gay. There's only been a couple that were straight. They're mostly gay. They're mostly gay. That's the truth. Okay? That is the truth. And by the way, even if you wanted to do that, let's look at numbers. Homosexuals make up less than 3% of our population. Okay? That means that out of the billions of people in the world, only a small majority are gay. And yet, even on your statistics, 40%, all right, I don't believe that 40% because, like I said, only because liar. No, you're lie. You're the homo, not me. You lie. Statistically, 40% of all child molestation cases are from homosexual men. That's not equating, and if you think, lies and more lies. So you're saying that men who molest boys aren't gay? You're saying they're straight? Come on, really? And you're going to call me a liar? Come on. But let's just use your number. Here's the facts. 40%. Look that up. That's FBI. You can look that up. 40% of molestations are committed by 3% of the population. Do the math. That means that a child is 11 times more likely to be harmed by a homosexual than a straight man. That's math. I know thinking hurts for you liberals. I know math hurts. That's why in Oregon there, they took away math requirements for minorities because they can't do math. And we know that you think that male is good. We know that you think that teaching a child that a sex life that involves ingesting fecal matter is good. Now I'm saying that predator channels catch mostly white married men chasing. Well, that's not true at all. I got CC Unit, which I follow, and I know them. They catch mostly gay men. So that may be the channel you watch. But again, just because you watch that channel and that's what they're doing, doesn't mean that's what all are doing. Matter of fact, there's a show, I can't remember what network it's on. I don't know. It's mostly guys going after little boys. So again, your experience isn't everybody's. You watch one particular channel. I follow tons of these guys. I'm involved with a group right now that rescues trafficked children and people that are, victims of religious abuse, ritual abuse. I'm very involved with that organization. So say what you want, but I'm involved in that fight. You don't know what I believe. Don't put words in my mouth. You just said you watch that channel. That's what they believe. I gave you facts. I gave you stats. I even told you where to go find them yourself. If you don't want to believe it, that's on you. Because I already know that libtards, I already know that people that support homosexuality, all white married men. See, now you're a liar. We know you're a liar. It's not all white married men. How about the pastor in Alabama that just admitted to, it was 40%. Go look at Focus on the Family. It's 40%. You give me lies. No, right. You're saying that a man who goes after a boy isn't gay. And I'm the liar. Okay. Delusions. Oh crap. Nobody come after this. You give me lies. No, that's you. You're saying that only white married men go after kids. That's not even remotely close to true. But you see, they believe everything CNN tells them. They never actually look for themselves. This person would probably tell me that homosexuals don't have anything to do with feces. They don't ingest feces. But you can go on the CDC website, look up Shigella, and it's right there. It'll tell you right there. Okay. Is National Institute reliable? I don't know. It depends. I have to see that one. But there's lots of them. National Institute of Health also says that there's no link between homosexuality and pedophilia. But then you look on some other ones that they have on there. That's racist. And it says there is one. So they give conflicting information depending on which study you read. Okay, that's the truth. But when the Catholic Church comes out and says that 80% of the priests that molested boys were gay, do we say that's not true because we don't like the Catholics? I'm not a Catholic. I don't like the Catholics. I think they're disgusting hypocrites. But I'm not going to tell them they're lying about that because it's racist. These people will say and do anything to defend the LGBT maps. Literally. They will deny science. They will deny logic. Like I just said, you saw him in here. A man who goes after a boy, when I said he's gay, says, I'm lying. Sexual offenders list, mostly white married straight men. That's not true either. Sexual offender. First of all, there is no generalized federal sex offenders list. So you're flat out lying. It does not exist. There are sex offenders lists in every state. In every, and we check them often because, again, we want to know who's commenting, who's, whatever. There is no federalized database of sex offenders. So when you say that, there's not. There's no such thing. Each state has their own sex offender registry because each state does have different laws and things. Some people are on there for life. Some people are tiered. Some people are not tiered, depending upon the state law. Okay, that's the truth. So there is no federalized list. So when you say that that mostly whatever, you're lying. Because I want to know which state and which list you're talking about. You're wrong. You're dead wrong. And the thing is, you will never concede to being wrong. Dancer, show me proof, link it to your community page. I've done it plenty of times. I got a whole thing in my notes section. I'd gladly give it to you. No problem. But let me ask you something, Dancer, and be honest. Are men who go after males gay or straight? Let's get to the nitty-gritty of this. Show me your facts and stats. I literally did. I even told you FBI. See, I told you CDC, Shigella. I literally said it. Like, you're gonna sit there and say I didn't say that. But you see, this is why you can't ration people, because they don't care. They don't want to hear or see anything that makes their gay friends look bad. They will defend them no matter what. That pastor in Alabama, was it 2 days ago, literally just confessed to, your words mean nothing but proof. FBI, CDC. Are you gonna say, so you're saying that men who go after males aren't gay? I'm asking. Is that what you're saying? I mean, why can't you answer the question? You don't want proof. You don't want proof, because any proof I provide you, you're gonna say it's not reliable. I'm gay and proud. You're a reprobate. Of course there are gay predators too. No. I didn't ask that question. If a man is attracted to males, is he gay? And if a man is attracted to females, is he straight? Yes or no? Don't deflect. Don't dance around it. Just simple yes or no. You know, I do speak every language with these people. They don't get it, because the thing is their brains, the Bible says, are reprobate. They're deviant. Okay, they are. So then you have to concede that if a man harms a boy, that man is gay. If a man harms a girl, that man is straight, right? Or are kids not boys and girls anymore? You just acknowledge it. I'm attracted to James Franco. Am I in the wrong? Yeah, you're a pervert. You can't find, because you're not looking. I don't know who you are, Colt Nino, and I don't have I'm doing a live video for my phone and all that, but it's absolutely 40%. 100%. Now again, I'll concede the fact that depending on which study you read and which one you do, you'll get different results. I will concede that point. Each study seems to have anywhere from 30 to 40%. I will absolutely concede that point. But it doesn't change the facts that a small portion of the population, statistically speaking, when you do it by the numbers, is responsible for when you got 1 million people, right? And let's say 900,000 of them are straight and 100,000 are gay. And out of those 100,000, 20% of them are going to hurt kids. And yet 20% of the other ones do it. You got to look. You got to do the math. But you guys don't like that, because you don't want anything truthful at all. You want to protect child groomers. Because the number I use, 40%, when you do the math and you do the other studies, I said, depending on what study you use, you'll find different numbers. But the study that I found when I looked this up, and I have a whole thing in notes in my phone, on my notes section of my Samsung here, shows those numbers. And I have a whole list of sources for that. So, are you crying? Yeah. Am I Batman? I might be Batman. There's a possibility, because you've never seen me and you've never seen Batman in the same room at the same time. So there is a good possibility that I could be Batman. I'm just saying. I do like that question. Is edging based? Why do see? I mean, again, I want to point out these people with their perversions. They all they think about is sex. And then when I share or post and share what they're saying, I'm the bad guy. When they're the one, all they we're not about sex. Everything is about sex with you people. Everything. Everything is about sex with these people. And that's really the problem at the end of the day. Nobody, we're told that I was, right? I'm going to give you a scenario, right? Purity culture traumatized me. I've heard people crying. I'm not kidding you not. I was told that I can't be a slut. I was told that if I don't wait till marriage, I'm going to go to hell. And I didn't want to. I wanted to sleep with men or women or both. And I was told I'm going to go to hell if I do that. And it's traumatizing. And they'll go out there and they'll do this. And here's my thing. If somebody tells you to wait till marriage to engage in sexual activity, how is that traumatizing? Because nobody is harmed from waiting till marriage. Matter of fact, that's how things used to be. But there's a lot of harm that can come by not waiting. Disease, pregnancy, if you know, a kid that you don't want, um, you know, and pregnancy is a good thing. And people that don't want kids, they'll kill their babies. So murdering babies is a bad thing. So waiting is not a bad thing. Not waiting could be a bad thing. And if you're traumatized by somebody telling you not to do something that could potentially harm you, you're just stupid. Okay? Because there's no net benefit to not waiting for marriage to have sex. There's no benefit to not waiting. But there is a benefit to waiting. Okay? Just like being gay. There's no benefit to being homosexual. None whatsoever. Homosexuality offers absolutely nothing beneficial to mankind or themselves. Let's be honest. They offer nothing. There is nothing that they offer that is unique to them that nobody else can do. There's absolutely nothing. Who kills their baby? People that abort their babies kill their babies. But that's my point, though. So when you tell somebody it's wrong to do this, you're saying it because all the data supports, disease, and it's true. And I know they'll say, it's not true. It's not true. It's not true. But go look on the CDC. 75% of all syphilis infections are men who have sex with men. AIDS, 67 or 70% of all AIDS, HIV infections are men who have sex with men. You got Shigella, men have sex with men. I mean, the disease rates are through the charts. You got so many men walking around with colostomy bags in San Francisco because they can't hold in their feces anymore because of rectal prolapse, things like this. So, there's nothing beneficial about it. It's anxiety, depression, drunkenness, all these things here. You can ban that guy there for being a pervert. But that's what I'm saying. So when we say it's wrong, we can back up why we're saying what we're saying. We can prove that what we're saying is true. It's wrong, and here's why. Okay? When you say, no, there's nothing wrong with it, it's all about love, it's not about love, because people who love each other don't rip the rectums of their friends apart. They don't do that. That's just gross. You don't do stuff like that. And again, I can prove all the negative effect, but there's not a single person. I've been preaching out there for years. I've asked this question for years. There's not a single person that could tell me any benefit that LGBT anything offers mankind that is unique to them that they should be celebrated. Not a single thing have they contributed to society. Can you shut up? No, but you can go up my channel. Nobody's asking you to watch me. They aren't getting banned. They're getting banned. Ryan's here. Anybody that comes on here with, because again, these people come on here with their filthy talk and, so, it's just the truth. But anyway, I wanted to do, listen, I'm just, I wanted to really just kind of do an experiment here. No, I'm not saying your name. Let's see here. Can he shut up? Just don't watch. It's that easy. Yeah, it is that easy. Don't ask that he's being a pervert. Again, the perverts have come out. When you talk about things they don't like, they do that because they're perverted. Like literally perverted. But like I said, I asked the question several times here today in this video, and nobody's given me any answer. Nobody's giving me any answer as to any benefit that these people offer society or mankind that's unique to them. I mean, tell me, why should they celebrate it? Why? I could think of a million reasons why our veterans should have an entire month. Why don't we have a Veterans Pride Parade? Why don't we celebrate our veterans who fight and die so that we can have the freedoms that we have in this country? Why don't we have that? Why don't we have Mother's Day parades or Father's Day parades? People that actually make a difference in our culture and our society. Why don't we have Christian Day parade? Why don't we have Christian Month parades? Christian pride parades. Why don't we have that? We can't have those because, after all, you didn't fight for your rights. Do you know how many Christians have died throughout human history so that we can have the freedom, we can have the religion we have today? Do you know how many men and women have died in this country over the years since its inception so that we can have the freedoms here? And you're going to sit there and say that because you want to put your penis in someone's rectum that you deserve more rights than a man and woman who actually contributes and offers something to society? Get out of here with that. Okay? Is it true you kicked your teenage daughter out of the house for getting it? Well, we know who that is. And no, that's not true. That's not the whole story. My daughter, who was 18, not, she was a legal adult, got pregnant. And I offered her a choice. This is the truth. And I know JT and Eric, that's your fake accounts. And don't worry, I'll find out later on who you really are. It's one of you two, or one of your little friends. When my daughter, I said, you can stay home and go to school and we'll help you and everything else, but you cannot live in sin. You cannot have this kid here. You cannot do that in my house. Hey, Kelly, it's your choice. You can either go with that kid or you can stay here and live by our rules. And she chose the other. So again, you can't listen to what everybody tells you online, especially when they don't know me and don't know the facts. All people know, and by the way, I still have contact with my daughter. And so I get exactly. But again, now that I've said that out there publicly, which I've said numerous times, do you think that the trolls will correct themselves and repent for lying? Of course not. But I answered the question because you asked. But again, don't worry about that person, you guys. It's either JT, Sodomite Olsen, or Eric Love. And I want to say more JT at this point because Eric, honestly, has been a little bit more quiet than him. He's not been as bad lately, so I'll give him that. It's probably JT. But it doesn't matter. I don't want to, with all these people watching, talk about that guy. So, but everything I said here tonight is 100% factual. And I challenge anybody to dispute anything that I've said here in relation to this. And there's all these people watching. Why bring it up? Because that's what slanders and trolls do. They want to go out and discredit people because that's what they want. People think that when you become a Christian, that the church is everything else, everything's all bliss and everything else. It's not. I'm actually talking to a woman right now who was harmed who left church. And let me tell you this story real quick before we go, because I've been on for an hour and I think I've completed my experiment. But so I'm talking to a woman today, and here's why she left the church. Her story is that she has been in church her whole life. She had friends, she had family, she loved going to church. On the same, witchcraft is the devil. Yes, witchcraft is the devil, 100%. She loved going to church. She enjoyed the fellowship with her brothers and sisters there. And then one day or a couple weeks there, she stopped going. Not a single member of the church called her. Nobody went to see to make sure she was okay. Nothing. And it hurt. It hurt her that the very people that she supported and cared about, the people that claimed they loved her, didn't even care enough to make sure that she was okay. They didn't even care to check up on her. And it hurt deeply. And I know it's easy for Christians to tell people, hey, don't look to man, look to God. How can you in one breath say that and then claim to be the ambassador of God on this earth in the same sentence? Either you are an ambassador of God, thus a representative of him, or you're not. It's one or the other. Okay? It's literally one or the other. And people do get hurt by Christians, and people do get hurt by churches. And trying to mitigate that fact and pretend like that's not true, saying that these people never had faith to begin with, you're causing more harm, and you're the reason why. If you're ever going to push anybody away, it's going to be stuff like that does it. What do you think about speaking tongues? I believe in it, and I do it. But I do not believe it's a parlor trick, and I don't believe it should be done just to show people we can do it. There's got to be an order to things. But so she was terribly hurt. And it's funny because we've had that experience as well. My wife and I, we attended a church in Clifton, New Jersey. And my wife and I didn't go for a couple weeks because there were some issues in church, and no, I'm sorry, I was sick, and nobody called. Nobody called. I had surgery actually. No, not a single person called or checked to say, hey, make a surgery. Nobody. And that bothered me. And I said, if that's happening to us, how many other people does it happen to? Churches don't care about their people anymore. And I'm going to tell you the truth. They don't care. Is that every church? No, of course not. So I'm speaking generally. But every time I hear a story about a person who's left church, it's because they've been hurt by a member of the church who claims that they are an ambassador of God. And then when these people tell their stories, other Christians say, well, you had faith in man, not God. Thus, repeating the cycle of abuse all over again by mitigating their experience and pretending like it's not true. People can fall away. People do lose faith. And they lose faith because of their experience with their brothers and sisters. That's the truth. Nobody wants to talk about it, but that's the truth. Yes, there are people that have faith in man and not God. That is 100% true. But there are people that have faith in God. There are people that love God and love Jesus and love their brethren. And they find out their pastor molested some kid in their church, and you're going to say, well, you had faith in the pastor, not man. Really? The pastor who claimed to be the representative of God, all of us as Christians, do we not claim to be the representatives of God on this earth? And then we're going to tell people that as representatives who we represent God, if somebody gets hurt by our actions, we're going to pretend like, that didn't happen, that you had faith in me, not God. And I'm talking about actual abuse, not made up abuse where you told me not to be a slut, you told me whatever. I'm talking about actual abuse. I'm talking about things where people are generally hurt. They're abused. I'm talking actual legitimate abuse. I actually have a lot of those people I deal with every day. Every single day I get messages. My wife will tell you because she logged into my Facebook the one day and she's like, I'm not doing that ever again because it's like ding, 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 ding. Well, she does, but we was exaggerating and that she's not going to do it again, but because my wife has access to all my stuff anyway. I'm not going to hide. But she logged in for some kind of app and my notification was going ding, ding. She's like, gee. So we can't pretend and hurt people by pretending like what they experienced wasn't true and wasn't legitimate. Now, we need to listen to make sure that it's legitimate abuse. We need to make sure if there's a legitimate pain there, and hopefully we can intervene to, reconcile things or maybe talk it out with people and try to fix things there. But by the time it gets to that point when people are ready to talk about it on social media, it's already been a while or other things have happened in the interim that have caused that. I mean, let's look at CFM Ministries for a second. Huge ministry, right? Led by Pastor David Lynn. He calls him a pastor. This is a guy who promotes polygamy. This is a guy who promotes child marriage. This is a guy who covers up sex abuse. And a guy who, if you leave, now he's at 501c3, but if you leave his church and you ask for a receipt for your donations, he will withhold your receipt if you left his church. That's a cult, not a church. What's up?
What are you doing?
I told you I'm doing a little experiment, and it worked. Yeah. Come say hi. I'm not doing anything in particular. Everything okay? So, that actually happened. Okay, that legitimately happened. And we can't pretend like it didn't. We can't pretend like that doesn't happen in other churches. It does. That pastor in Alabama, who harmed a boy, molested a boy who just pled guilty to sodomizing him, who was married, by the way, with children, and then left his wife for a guy. He's gay. That happened. The pastor in Indiana who molested a teenage girl who had the courage when she was an adult to stand up to him in a church, and then the church rallied around the pastor while this girl stood there and watched. That's legitimate. You can't claim, well, sister, you just got to have faith in God when that happens. You can't just say that to people. There is legitimate abuse in churches. There's legitimate abuse by Christians. There's a lot of illegitimate abuse that people claim is abuse when it's not, but there is legitimate forms of abuse. And ignoring that and pretending like there's not doesn't make you super spiritual. It doesn't make you a better Christian. It doesn't even make you a good Christian. It actually makes you a lousy Christian who I pray and hope you never try to counsel anybody for anything ever. Okay? There are people that need healing. And as ambassadors of God, it's your job to do what you can to do that and allow the Lord to heal that person. Not perpetuate a cycle of abuse. You know, we think that just because someone goes to church that they're all right. We think their churches, whatever. Churches are not all good. They're really not. There are a lot of bad things that happen in a lot of churches in America. There is sexual abuse. Absolutely. There's physical abuse. It does happen. There's a Christian in jail right now that we have put away, that my wife was, I hate you. Okay, you can hate me all you want. I don't care. I hate you. Okay. Whatever. I don't care. You can hate me. Most sodomites do. Doesn't bother me any. You know, perverts. They're all perverts. It's funny too because we preach that Abilene Pride event. And they're like, you know, this isn't about sex. And then you go there and it's literally all about sex. It's the same thing here when they say our life is not just dependent on who we sleep. It's not about sex. But then it is. Like, that's all they talk about is sexual stuff. Like sex acts. Like, that's all they talk about. I find it funny. But anyway, my thoughts on heavy metal music. Well, I mean, when I was a teenager in high school, I was what they call the headbanger. I enjoyed heavy metal music. That's my type of music. I don't know of any good Christian heavy metal music, to be honest. Most of the Christian heavy music I heard is terrible. That's my opinion. You know, that's terrible. My opinion. You may like it, but as far as the genre of music, I don't think there's a problem with the specific genre if it's actually glorifying God. I personally hate rap music. I personally hate country music. You may like it, but if it's honoring God and glorifying God and not singing heresy, I don't see anything wrong with it. There's no prohibition against it. It's just that, again, my preference, you know, I tend not to like Christian heavy music because I don't think it's that great. Will this live stream the record? Yes, it will. I hate rap. I hate rap music. I know other people like it. Sometimes I'll do an intro with it with a guy, you know, because the message is solid. But me personally, I don't like it, and I hate country music. Like I hate. I don't listen to Pantera. I used to listen to Pantera when I was a kid. When I was in high school, I listened to Pantera. I do not anymore. As a matter of fact, I can't even tell you when the last time was. That's how long it's been. You know. But anyway, you guys, I think I've talked long enough. I think I've done what I needed to do here. I'm going to do more videos like this more often because I really think these are good. This video will stay live. If you've never, you know, if you don't know who we are and you want to, you know, you want to see more of our teaching content, long form video stuff, I would, you know, welcome you to go ahead and subscribe to our channel. It's youtube.com/at official street preachers. Go ahead and, you know, give a comment, give a thumbs up in the video here afterwards, and encourage others. Because we do a lot of teaching. Sometimes we do horizontal, you know, things like that. We have a green screen we do 3 times a week, but we're going to do more videos like this style because, you know, again, I could see we're reaching a whole different type of audience. Maybe we'll even do a Bible study like this if you guys want. Let me know. But if you would, we'd appreciate that. A sub to the channel, again, youtube.com/@officialstreetpreachers. And if you would share it and comment, that would be great as well. But just know we appreciate you, even you perverts that come on. I appreciate your comments as well because you help me expose you even further and to really make my case for me. With that said, I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. I do appreciate everybody that does follow our channel, that follows our ministry, that is patient with me. As I even then, sometimes when I do things, I'm trying to understand things myself. Like I said, I don't understand why people do some things. So sometimes when I talk about it and I read some input, it helps me in that regard as well. So as much as I teach others, you know, and others help teach me as well. So I do appreciate all my brothers and sisters. Thank you guys, and God bless you. And I will see you probably tomorrow at some time.